Welcome back, guys. In this lecture we're going to talk about SSL, what it is, what we use it for, how it works, also about CDN and why the SSL and CDN compatibility is so important. Now, first off, what is SSL and what makes it so important and people are willing to pay for it? Well, let's start by defining what SSL means. Now, SSL means Secure Sockets Layer. And basically that's a fancy name for saying that it is a security protection between the client and the server, right? So it's going to be protecting the client and the server transfers. Now, the best way to really explain this in depth is to actually show you what I mean. So let's say that we have our client here. Now the client could be your users using your website. It could be you using a website, you logging into your own website, etc., etc. So let's say that you have a login, people have their password and their username and everything. So what they're gonna do is that they're gonna log in and therefore send their username and their password, and it's going to be sent from them, from their computer to the servers, right? And then the server is gonna fetch it and it's gonna log them in. Now, here's the problem. You see that when Mr. Hacker pops up in the picture, which unfortunately has become a commonplace today, he's gonna be able to zoom in on that thing. He's gonna be able to zoom in on the transfer itself between the client and between your website, see your username and password, and suddenly you or that client has been hacked, and that is terrible. Now, you don't want this to happen, especially not when you're having some form of e-commerce or if you're handling sensitive information or just for your own login to your own website that can break your entire website. Now, of course, thankfully we have backup and everything, but this is not something that you want to happen, especially not knowing that people might be sharing valuable information and very private information with you, with their login, credit card informations, etc., etc. So here is the solution, guys: encryption. And encryption is exactly what SSL offers. So now when we're using SSL, it looks like this instead. We have our client who is then going to be logging into your website, right? It's gonna have its username and its password. But now when it's sending the information towards the server, it's actually going to go through an encryption, right? This is the SSL encryption. So that means that when the transfer is happening between the client and the server, it's no longer gonna say user 123 or password 123, right? It's not gonna say the username and the actual password. Instead, it's gonna look something like this. It's just gonna be random digits and numbers, impossible to know what it actually says and what it actually means. So then it's going to be received by the server with this really strange information, but thanks to the SSL, that means that when the server gets this information, it's gonna be decrypted, and that means that the server can get the real information and use it and log that client in safely. So now, should Mr. Hacker appear, apparently there's only one hacker in the world in this story, should the hackers appear, that means that they're gonna zoom in on that encryption, right? And if they go ahead and grab the encryption, they have no idea what it means and they can't do anything valuable with it. And this is why SSL is so important and it is so valuable for security. For yourself, for everyone who uses it, you need to have your website SSL secured, okay? So then let's move on to CDN. Now, the thing with the SSL encryption is that the encryption is going through the Bluehost service because we're using Bluehost and we're getting a free SSL, so it's only gonna work through the Bluehost servers. But with CDN, you're going to be using a bunch of different servers. And unless you're paying for your SSL certificate, you won't be able to apply that into the other servers that you're using. Because of all of these different servers, they're gonna be all around in the world, right? So that means that your website and your content and material that people will be visiting on your website, they will be uploaded in different parts of the world. So, for example, if someone is in Norway, in Europe, or someone is in Australia or New Zealand, etc., then there's gonna be a closer server, most likely, than where Bluehost is, and they're gonna be a faster page load, they're gonna get the content much faster, they're gonna have a much better user experience. But we need it to be encrypted still, and the free SSL does not offer that with this CDN. But here is the solution, and this is why this is so perfect. and that is Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare has this really amazing offer. They have, well, for being a free CDN, they are by far the widest and I would say best CDN offers out there right now. Now, of course, if you're using Max CDN or something like that, you can get more, but the amazing thing with Cloudflare is that it's completely free, and free is always in the budget, right? But they're not only offering an amazing CDN, they're also offering a free SSL certificate. So what that means is, and because we're getting an SSL from Cloudflare, that means that we get to have an SSL, a secure encryption, secure transfers, while also using CDN, and it's not gonna cost us a thing. So that is the amazing thing here. So in this Disney story, we get a beautiful solution to the whole problem. So what we're gonna go ahead and do right now is, in the next lecture, we are gonna set up our Cloudflare CDN. We're actually gonna set up our Cloudflare SSL, get this party started, and then make sure that our loading times are improving and our server response time is improving. Okay, so see you in the next lecture, guys.